Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey, podcast family, welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 269. I'm Phil Graham. Today, I've got an amazing episode for you guys. I'm going to be sharing a blueprint from a unicorn ad that we're running that's been absolutely crushing it. And when I say a unicorn ad, that's something that is just insane, like off the charts good. This unicorn ad that I'm talking about is in an industry where the average cost per action is anywhere from $12 to $15. And we're getting leads in the dollar range. That's how good this is. And this particular example is for a local business. However, the blueprint for this type of ad that I'm going to share with you can literally be used for any kind of business, whether you're local or global, whether you're selling a product or a service, whether you're trying to get a lead that then turns into a sale, or you're trying to go straight for a sale or something else. Any and all of those things can be used effectively with this blueprint. And one of the reasons why I decided to have this as a topic today, number one, it's timely. It's an ad we're running right now, still today, and it's had a lot of success. And number two, there's so much talk from people about inflation or Facebook ads not working as good. That's all BS. Ads are working awesome. Yes, there's inflation, but there's tons of opportunities because of inflation. In fact, it's more important than when there wasn't inflation, but you got to be good at it. So people saying that inflation or Facebook ads don't work, that's like saying basketball doesn't work. It literally is. But if you give that basketball to somebody who's actually really good at the game, guess what? It definitely works. The skill is the difference. And so right now, where we're at, you have to be pretty good to have success at ads. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be pretty darn good. And most of you, pretty much all of you listening, could be great. You might already be great. You could be even greater. That's the beautiful thing about running ads. You can be great pretty much no matter who you are. If you put in the time, you put in the work, and you upskill yourself. So that's the great news. Now, before we jump into the episode, if you guys want to connect with me, but maybe you're looking for some one-on-one coaching so you can actually learn this stuff the right way, so you can actually learn how to create unicorn ads for yourself or for others. Or maybe you want somebody to actually run your ads for you, somebody you can trust, so then you can do what you do best. Well, for either one of those things, just go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com. Or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I would love to connect with you. Jumping into this episode, I'm going to try and keep this, as usual, short, sweet, full of value, and very actionable for you guys. I've got a lot of examples that I can give for unicorn ads because we run lots of great ads. This is a specific one that applies to a local business that wanted more leads, and who they are very good at turning leads into business and sales. So it's like a great combination. But again, like I said earlier, this could absolutely be used even if you're not doing leads, you're just going straight for sales. Whether you're local or global, whether you're selling products or services, even if you're 100% online, maybe you're selling digital stuff, this can definitely be used for you. I am so excited because this unicorn ad that we created has been doing so well. It's almost like we almost have to turn it off because it brings in so much opportunity. It's just ridiculous. And by the way, these are really good leads. We're not getting leads from like some third world country. This is a very hyper local targeting. And it's been like a faucet we can just turn on, bring in these leads for an insanely low cost. And then we really haven't turned it off yet, but like we might need to because it's just so good that there's only so many hours in the day to handle this business. It didn't start off as a unicorn ad. We were running ads, we were testing, and that's where we found what ultimately turned out to be a unicorn ad. It reduced our lead cost to a ridiculous amount that's like $1 or $1.20 or $1.50 a lead, where before it was like $4, $5, $7 a lead. And in this industry, even the $4, $5, and $7 a lead was insanely good. But $1 something is just off the charts good. But don't worry about the price. The price per lead depends on the industry. $1 for some industries might be a lot, might be too much. Whereas for other industries, people would cut off their right arm to get leads for $1. So this is the kind of industry where that cheap of a lead, high quality, is just insanely amazing. And so again, it didn't start off that way. So here's the setup. We tried different ad copy, messaging, and creatives, different objectives, and we got mixed results. And when I say mixed, like they were all good. We were doing really well, but we didn't have any unicorns yet. So what I did was I used the data. I'm always talking about how important the data is. I used data to make better decisions and test more things. Such a huge mistake I see people make is when they have ads that are working, they don't try and improve them. Obviously, it's a no-brainer. If you're running ads and it's not working, you need to improve them, and you got to find out why it wasn't working. That's a no-brainer. It's not easy to do, but it's very doable, and we do that consistently. But also, I think even fewer people just have ads that are working, but don't try and improve them. And if we wouldn't have done that, we would have left so much money on the table. So we use data to figure out why they're working, and we test certain things and then look at the data again and see what works and just rinse and repeat. Now, because of that, we've got this unicorn ad that's running. It's pretty crazy. One thing that I want to mention is that unicorn ads come in all types. Sometimes it's sending people to a landing page. Other times it might be sending people through Messenger. Another time it might be sending people to something else. So don't get caught up in thinking that what I'm going to share with you is the best thing, because there's variables that are super important. I could install this exact campaign in somebody else's account, and that doesn't mean you're going to have the same result. Part of being really good at ads is, number one, knowing how to create unicorn ads and make that happen. But also number two, knowing that it just doesn't automatically happen. You have to know what to test, how long to test it, when to test it, why, what else to test, what not to test, and all those types of things. And the reason why very few people are really highly skilled at ads is because that actually is a lot of work. It takes skill to learn all that stuff. And most people don't want that. They just want the magic button, the magic template, so they can just be the next Nike with no work. Well, guess what? That's all BS. All these scammers feed you those lines, take your money, and screw you. That's not how it works. And I'm sure if you guys are listening, if you have been listening, you probably know that by now. So I'm going to be sharing the framework we're using for this unicorn ad. And like I said, this framework, this blueprint can be used for any type of business or situation. However, again, despite what all the fake gurus say, it's not plug and play. You've got to be able to be good at figuring out how you might tweak it for your situation or test some variations of it and things like that. That's part of our magic. That's part of our secret sauce. But again, you can be good at this. You can be great at this. Anybody can. So that's the good news. So in this specific example, the ad objective that we're using, the objective is the messages objective. Like I said earlier, we have lots of different types of unicorn ads, and they're not all messages. Sometimes conversions is best. Sometimes it's traffic. So don't get too hung up on that. But in this exact example, we're using messages for the objective. So it's definitely something that I would test if I were you. In terms of who we're targeting, in this situation, it's for a local business. So we're actually targeting a broad local audience. Now, there's not like tens of millions of people in this audience, but there's also not 50,000. It's a decent size audience, but it is a pretty broad local audience. This strategy could also apply to a very large global audience or even a smaller, highly segmented audience. So I would say test different types of targeting when you're testing this type of situation. But I just want to be clear, what we're doing in this case is a broad local audience. And then our optimization for this ad is conversations. So it's a messages objective. We want to generate conversations on Messenger. Now, the creative. This is really important. I mean, this is probably the most important thing besides the objective that we're using here, because we've tested lots of different creatives, both images, videos, carousels. We've tested different ad copy. The key has been our testing. We did not luck into this. We didn't just luck into finding something that worked. We found it by testing in the right way and doing a good job of knowing what to test and how to evaluate the data. So in this scenario, the winner was a video. Now, back to what I said before, that doesn't mean video is always the best. Sometimes our unicorn ads are images, and it might be for you. However, in this case, definitely the video by far was a huge part of the unicorn ad success. It was a very strong video that has a great thumbnail that gets attention. The thumbnail is something that just grabs your attention when you're scrolling. You're not going to miss it. It doesn't look like anything else. So when you create a video, make sure that you have a thumbnail that captures attention, because no matter how good your video is, if you don't get somebody to stop and watch your video, then you're not going to have much success. In terms of the video length, this was around a 45-second video. And I typically recommend about 30 to 60 seconds. Definitely keep it under 60 for most of your videos, but 30 to 60 seconds. This one was 45 seconds. And it had some music playing in the background. And the video does a really good job of actually showing the product or service being used kind of in action and addressing a pain point. So when it comes to a video that you could create for this test, think about a video that you can do that would show your product or service being used kind of in action, show somebody using it, whether it's somebody else or you or something like that, or even potentially behind the scenes. And also, how can you address a pain point while doing that? Because I think the combination of the video we used that had a great thumbnail that showed the service being used in action and addressed a pain point all in one in a short 45-second span, that was a really good combination. And that was a huge part of our success. So think about that. What kind of video can you create that shows your product or service being used in action while addressing a pain point? And then what kind of thumbnail can you put on there to make sure that it stands out? It's not like anything they normally see on Facebook. It really sticks out. People are going to stop and want to watch. That would be the video that I would test with a Messenger objective and test it to somewhat of a broad audience, but you could also test it to a segmented audience as well. Now let's talk about the ad copy that we're using. So in this case, we're using short ad copy. We've got unicorn ads that have long copy too. So this is not the kind of thing where I'm saying, oh, you should always use short copy. No, that's what a bunch of fake gurus tell you. No, there's no absolutes. Sometimes short copy works better. Sometimes long copy works better. So test them both. But in this case, this actual unicorn ad, it is short ad copy. And so the essence of the copy is this. We start off with some empathy in the ad copy, empathizing, talking about where somebody is currently at right now. And then we throw in a little differentiation about how we are different than what else is out there. And then talk about the benefits of the service. So think about what you could do in your ad copy. Start off with some empathy, like connect with people where they're at right now before you offer a solution, and then demonstrate or talk about a little bit about how you're different and how that benefits them. And then what are the benefits of your product or service? And most importantly, how can that actually help them? And we do that in a very short paragraph, very short. And then we have a call to action to send us a message. I've also got some emojis in the ad copy. And then lastly, we've got a headline that does really well. I've got some emojis in the headline, which I feel like brings more attention to the ad. And then the headline focuses on a positive benefit that our service brings to the audience. And then also some differentiation, how we differ. So positive benefit and differentiation. So to recap, because this creative is probably the biggest key to the unicorn success in this case, is the headline is a positive benefit that our service brings them, along with how we're different. And it's got an emoji, a couple emojis in there to grab attention. And then the ad copy is short. There's some emojis in there. We give some empathy. We meet them where they're at first before offering any kind of solution or talking about anything else. Then we talk about our differentiation briefly and the benefits of our service, or it could be a product, either one. And then how that, most importantly, how that helps and benefits them. And then we got that call to action to send a message. Now you could try this with a different call to action. You could talk about clicking on a page to go to a landing page or something like that. But in this case, this is exactly what we're doing that's producing unicorn results. Now, when somebody sends us a message, we actually have a couple preloaded questions in there. We don't have a ton of stuff, but we ask what I call a non-yes or no question at the start. So, would you like to do this or that? Instead of, are you interested? Yes or no. We actually, it's kind of like an open-ended thing. Do you want to do this, or that? Is health, wealth, or fitness important to you, or whatever? You just want to ask a good question to where there's not an answer that's no. And it should be very specific to whatever product or service you offer, like the problems you solve. So we ask that question to start. And then based off of how they answer, we have an automatic follow-up to their question. And then from there, we have a live person, a real person, engage with them on Messenger and take it from there. We could go 100% non-live and just have everything pre-programmed in there, but we found better success by, after we getting a couple questions answered, having a real person engage with them one-on-one on Messenger. That's working really well. And that's also, I think, a big part of this success. Those are some ideas. We've done unicorn ads that just send people to landing pages. We've done unicorn ads that don't involve leads, that just go straight to a sale, or that don't involve somebody manually replying to a messenger message. And I'll share some of those with you in the future. But this particular ad that's working so well, this is exactly how we're doing it. One last thing that I want to make sure you guys are crystal clear on. When it comes to success in running ads in business, it takes a high level of skill, and you've got to be able to learn and test different things. You could take this exact template, this exact blueprint that I shared with you today and use it, but that doesn't mean you're automatically going to have success. It's your ability and skill to apply it to your own individual business and situation and adapt based off of the data that can bring you much better results. That's why a lot of people will hire somebody like me to either teach them how to do it or do it for them. But you can definitely create great ads and have some success. You can be a unicorn yourself. There's so much opportunity and so much possibility here. But don't fall into the trap of listening to this and just wanting to kind of copy and paste the exact thing, metaphorically speaking, and just expecting the same results. You might have to tweak some stuff. There's definitely some variables based off of your situation, and make sure that you realize that and you get good at understanding that. Just tune out all the fake gurus that act like there's automatic riches. Just use this template. That's all BS. Just tune all that out and you will be so far ahead of everyone else. My hope for you guys is that you realize this is a great time to be advertising, and take what you learned today and test it in your business. See how you can apply this. Realize that, yes, there are variables. You might have to tweak something. You might have to change a little bit about what it says or the format. You may even change the objective. Like, that's how I found this unicorn, by testing different things. And so if you focus on getting really great at this stuff, testing different things, and never giving up, always focusing on data and getting better at this, as well as getting great information from sources you trust, hopefully like this podcast, then great things can happen for you. So my friends, episode 269 is in the books. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening. I've got a lot of great things ahead in upcoming episodes. So I will talk to you next time. Thank you so much. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.